Hello. In this video, we are going to be making an R chart. An R chart is one of two important graphs that are used to study the variability in a process. If we're collecting data about a process, let's say we make tortilla chips, and every hour for 5 hours we've gone out and we've collected a sample. And that sample consists of 7 measurements. So our sample size is 7 because every time we collect data, we're collecting 7 data points. So we collect those 7 weights, and then we will, in each sample, and we'll calculate the average of those weights, and we'll calculate the range. The average is self-explanatory. The range in each sample is the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. Now, the average chart is an important chart. It's called an X-bar chart. I have a separate video about that. In this video, we are making the chart for the ranges, the R-bar chart. So to get started, we need to know what the average range value is, and we call that R-bar. And that's quite simple to make. Just sum up the ranges and take the average. So 16.9 divided by 5, and that gives us an average value for the range of 3.38. Okay, now we have everything we need to know to do the calculation. The upper and lower control limits in an R chart are simply R bar times these two numbers, D4 and D3. Where do those come from? They come from a table. How do we know what number we need? We will choose the row based on our sample size, not on the number of times that we collected data, but on how big the sample was each time. So our sample size is 7, so we will use row corresponding to the sample size of 7. So we have D3 is 0.08, D4 is 1.92. And this will give us an upper control limit of 6.49, and a lower control limit of 0.27. So we've calculated the control limits. In theory, you don't need to make a graph. You just need to be able to figure out if we have any numbers bigger than this or smaller than that. And since I only have 5 numbers, I can quickly look and see, no, there's nothing bigger than this or smaller than that. But the whole point is to make a chart. So let's make a chart. I'll start by graphing the upper and lower control limits, and then we'll graph the individual range values. Okay, from looking at our control chart, we can clearly see nothing above the upper limit, nothing below the lower limit, and then no questionable patterns going on in the middle, so we can say this process appears to be under control. To recap, we collected a bunch of samples. Every one was of size 7. We found the average, we found the range, then we found the average value of the range, which we call R bar. Then we looked in the table to see where our sample size was 7. The D3 value is 0.08, D4 value is 1.92. Multiplied those by the range R bar values to get the upper and lower limits. We plotted it, and everything looks fine. That's how you do an R chart. I hope this has been helpful.